Okay, so we're going to take a look at how to use the SP detect web part zone code that I made available out here at github.com/dsmagic12/spdetectWPZ. First thing we need to do is download the necessary code files. So I'm going to start by go ahead and getting the tabs file here. I'll click the raw button so I can easily save this by doing Control S. I'll just save it out to my desktop with the file name that the browser detected of detectWPZ-tabs.js. Then I will go back and one more time to the root of the SP detectWPZ directory. I'll then grab the vanilla.js file and save it, also to my desktop. And finally, depending on where I want to house my code files on my SharePoint site, I'll grab the appropriate HTML file that can be linked to a content editor web part. In this case, I'm going to be putting my code into the site assets library on my site. So let's go ahead and download that web part. And again, save it to my desktop with that default file name. Okay, so now I have my code files. Let's take a look at my SharePoint site. So here we have a look at a page that's ready to be tabbed. Our goal here is to take the two web parts here in the left-hand column and the two web parts here in the right-hand column and make two different sections of tabs, one in the left and one in the right. So let's go ahead and start that process. We'll go to my site assets library here on my site, and I will drag my code files in there. Then I will right click on the web part HTML file and copy link address. So now I have on my clipboard a URL that points over to that particular file that I uploaded. So now what I need to do is go to the page where I want to implement the web part and go to edit mode. Then I need to add a web part to the web part zone I want to convert over to tabs, and select from the media and content folder, content editor, and click add. Then I'll edit that web part's properties. I will link it to the web part HTML file that I downloaded from GitHub. I'll give my content editor a good name like detectWPZ1. And I will set its Chrome type to none and make it so that it's the last web part in its zone. So I'll set its zone index, in this case, to 2. All right, there we go. We can see that my content editor is there. It's at the bottom of its zone. It's linked to my code file and a Chrome type of none. So I'm ready to add the content editor over here to the right-hand column to convert that section over to tabs. So again, I'll add the web part. I will edit that web part. I will link it to my HTML code file for the web part. I'll give it a good name like detectWPZ2. Set its Chrome type to none. And make it so it's the last web part in the zone. So this would be a zone index of 3 to get it below all the others. And I'll hit apply. There we go. We can see that it moved, and we can see that it's linked to my code file. So I'm still in edit mode on the page, and my code is not going to convert my web parts in these zones over to tabs. But as soon as I leave edit mode, we see that my content is converted over to tabs. I can switch between those, and it will show the relevant content. So one interesting thing here is that tab 1 is actually, its content is being populated by 2 different web parts. And that's because there's a web part here that is below one that has a title and a Chrome type that's not equal to none. And so this web part is the first one that's converted to a tab. But the next one here below has a Chrome type of none, and it doesn't therefore have a title. And thus my code is going to include this content into the content that's associated with this tab up above it. If we go back to normal mode on the page, we can see that. So this content's combined into tab 1, and it goes away if I click on tab 2. It comes back if I click on tab 1.